Welcome to the Ringer NFL show. Sheil Kapadia here. Seahawks Cardinals was not that entertaining for like 3+ quarters, but man, what a finish. Seahawks hang on 23-20. What did we learn? What are our big takeaways? What do we think about these teams going forward? To talk about it all, I'm thrilled to welcome in my friend Jacson Bevens, who hosts the Cigar Thoughts podcast. I've joined him on that many a time. Now he's returning the favor and joining me. He's been talking Seahawks. He's been talking NFL for a long, long time. Jacson, how is the heart rate after that ending for the Seattle Seahawks?
Oh, there's never a doubt, baby. Never a doubt. No, of course, man. The Seahawks are incapable of playing a normal game. So, once a week, my heart is used to it at this point, but it's calming down now once that kick went through the uprights.
There you go. Calming down now, 3-1. If you're a Seahawks fan, you have to be excited. But I have a take that I want to lead off with that I wonder if Jackson's going to tell me, oh, you got to shut up with that. That can't be the first thing we talk about, or if he's going to agree with me. So let's take a break. We come back and we will get into what we learned from this football game. This is the Ringer NFL show presented by FanDuel, and the NFL is officially back. So if you're going to be in it with FanDuel. They've got the goods, futures, live betting, SGPs, your way bets, all of it. The app's clean, it's fast, and yeah, when you win, you get paid instantly, which is nice because Sunday patience doesn't exist. So get your bets in, build something bold, and make every game feel bigger. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/RingerNFL to get started. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Paid endorsement. All right, we're back on the Ringer NFL show. All right, Jackson, I'm going to lead us off. And here is actually my big take. And part of me can't believe, I can't believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth here. But here goes. I think if the Seahawks want to win big, Mike Macdonald actually needs to trust Sam Darnold more, was one of my big takeaways from this football game. Let me explain before you yell at me. Seahawks, I thought, almost blew this game, and it really shouldn't have been close, but if you've watched Macdonald through the first 4 weeks of the season, I think it's pretty clear how he wants to play. It's like he wants to win with his defense. He wants to make sure Sam Darnold is not losing games for him. It cost him in week 1 in that 49ers game. We all remember that. He got conservative. I thought it almost cost him in this game. There's a 4th and 2 in the third quarter. He kicks a field goal. Then in a 1-score game, it's 2013 with 4:04 left. Earlier in the drive, Sam Darnold had delivered a beautiful ball to Jaxon Smith-Njigba down the right sideline. It's 3rd and 9. I'm thinking, all right, what's Darnold going to do here? Step on the throat, put him away. And they run the football and they settle for a 53-yard field goal that they end up missing that allows the Cardinals back in the game there. And then even on that final drive, Jackson, I'm looking, they have a timeout. They're at the Arizona 38. I'm thinking, all right, Darnold's been nails here. Give him one more chance for a completion, get closer. They hand the football off to Zach Charbonnet, who had a heck of a run, honestly, to just gain whatever it was, 4 or 5 yards, and they kick a 52-yarder. So I'm adding all those things up, and I'm looking at it, and it's like these are suboptimal decisions. It worked in this game, but barely, and I feel like I don't know that it's going to work in the long run. Again, I can't believe I'm saying it. Am I nuts, or do you agree with any part of that?
Well, listen, if anyone was going to disagree with you about trusting Sam Darnold more, it would be me, because I am famously skeptical about the decision to move from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold. But you know what? Darnold played really well in this game, and their best drives were when they were letting it rip. It's not like, Seattle's running game is better than it's been in a few years right now, early in the season, but it's not like it's dominant. It's not like they're just getting yards at will. It's still very, very hit and miss. They had a lot of runs for loss of yardage. And so for them to just turtle up when they had proof of concept that letting the passing game go is working, especially against this Cardinals defense, who's been very good against the run against everybody this season. It was really frustrating. They had a chance to put the hammer down on this team. You mentioned settling for a long field goal, when it was 20-13. They also had a chance to make it 24-13 and not even have that be an issue. But they didn't put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands. And to me, and I say this as someone who so far, Sam Darnold, he's doing his thing. Like, I'm not a take lot guy. I want to be wrong. I've been very public about wanting to be wrong about Sam Darnold. So far, he's looking good. But their passing offense is a Jaxon Smith-Njigba passing offense. And in the second half, he was completely uncoverable. And Sam Darnold threw him a lot of trust balls. And twice on those final 2 drives, he came through with big third down, long completions. And then they just went away from it and they got bailed out. But I am with you. I'd like to see them step on the throat.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I think Macdonald is such an interesting coach because it's not like he's ignorant to the, game. Like he talked about it after that 49ers game. In my ear, they were saying, that's a go. I chose not to go. And I wondered in that moment, was that a learning thing? Was that all right, if it comes up again, I'm going to do it differently? It doesn't seem like he wants to do it differently. And I get it. He's a defensive coach. He's an awesome defensive coach. The defense is really, really good. And so I understand you want to trust that. And I'm not even saying like throw it 40 times a game. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying in these kind of key moments in a game where it's just like you can either gain an edge. He's always saying the chasing edges thing, right? That's been his slogan. It's like those are, some of those decisions you made, you're not chasing edges there. You're kind of going overboard here. And I think it's impossible to have this conversation without having the Darnold conversation. I think you and I were probably in the same spot with this going into the season. I was very skeptical of this Sam Darnold, Clint Kubiak relationship. I thought it's not going to look the same as it did in Minnesota. Now we have 4 weeks here, Jaxon. And so I'm taking the L on my preseason take. Now, I want to hear where you are in a second, but I'm taking the L because I really thought there was a low floor for this offense. Like, I thought there was a chance it was going to be a disaster, that Darnold was going to look more like the guy we saw earlier in his career. And that just hasn't been the case through 4 weeks. I'm not saying it's amazing. He's elite. This offense is incredible. But what I do like a lot is that they are producing explosive plays at a very high rate. And you mentioned it. That's impressive when you really only have one wide receiver you can lean on. Right now, 21% of their pass plays have resulted in an explosive completion. That's the highest rate in the entire NFL. And I thought Darnold looked really good today. Like you said, 18 for 26, 242 yards. He made some big time throws in this game. And so I'm already 1 month in, backing off of my preseason take that watch out, this offense could be really bad. Are you willing to go that far? Let's get the state of where Jaxon is with Sam Darnold 4 weeks into the season.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in saying this offense is not going to be really bad. I think that, I don't think a top 5 offense is within this team's range of outcomes, but it doesn't need to be because they're allowing 17 points per game. They gave up 20 today, and that's the highest that they've allowed all season. And 14 of it came in the final, 7-8 minutes of this game. And so you don't need Sam Darnold and the rest of this offense to go out and score 35, at least so far, to win. And I think that that's where the art has to step into the science in the equation with Mike Macdonald, because the way that he's coaching about chasing edges in the non-high leverage situations, about squeezing the sponge with the clock in the game with defense and running and all of the things that every coach wants to do, but very few are actually able or willing to do. Can you in that moment then say, okay, I actually need to step out of that and be more aggressive? And I wonder if he got spooked by going for it on 4th and 1 early in the game and getting stuffed and saying, hey, maybe we don't have that advantage the way that I would like to in this game. But I think Sam Darnold is absolutely capable of leading an offense that's going to win games when they're only giving up 17. And I don't mean that as like a backhanded compliment. Like, there is real value in having a quarterback that isn't going to give that away. Week 1, yes, but week 1's crazy for every NFL team. Yeah. Last 3 weeks, he's been really good. In 8 halves of football so far, I think he's had 5 good ones. And I'll take that.
Yeah. He has exceeded my expectations. And if, longtime listeners of the show will be like, Sheil, we had the same conversation last year where I was just hanging on. I was going, all right, he's done it for 4 weeks for the Vikings. All right, he's done it for 6 weeks. All right, he's done it for 8 weeks. And I felt like it was just going to flip at some point. And it flipped, but it was, it's the last 2 games of the season. They had already won 14 games. So that's a different animal. I mean, his teams are 17-4 in their last 21 games. I saw them flash that stat on the screen. And I was looking at the advanced stats, right before we came on, Jaxon. And again, it's a 4-game sample, so I don't want to get carried away. But EPA per pass play and success rate, he's actually performing better this year with the Seahawks, with Clint Kubiak, than he did last year with Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson and the QB whisperer. And it's like, so I don't know if that's going to last the rest of the way, but he looks confident. He was making big time throws and he was avoiding those big mistakes. So I feel like, if you're a Seahawks fan, you feel good about how this experiment's going so far.
The Seahawks have only run, I think, like 15% of their plays when they've been behind so far this year.
Okay.
And so that opens up a lot of opportunities that those weren't game scripts Minnesota was in last year. It was a lot of shootouts. It was a lot of high scoring games. It was a lot of defenses expecting the pass, and how you perform passing against the defense that is expecting the pass because it's tied or it's high scoring or you're behind is different than when you're playing big stack poker and you have more chips than the other guy and you can just lean on them. And then all of a sudden you can surprise them with a big shot down the field. That is what the Kubiak system was doing last year in New Orleans before all the injuries hit. And so, yeah, it is an advantageous position for a quarterback to be in, but you still got to perform, and Sam Darnold's performing.
Okay, let's take a break because I want to come back and just get your sense of expectations for this team. Are you allowing your mind to wander to those, weird places of January and February, or are you keeping it in check and being like, everybody settle down? So let's take a break and come back and talk about that. The Ringer NFL show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's one of the biggest weeks in sports, and FanDuel is turning it into a full-on celebration. Introducing FanDuel Boost Fest, where every day from September 25th to 28th brings you a 50% profit boost on the biggest matchups in football, baseball, golf, and more. However you play, that 50% profit boost is ready to go every single day during Boost Fest. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/RingerNFL to jump into Boost Fest, where the games are big and the boosts are bigger. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. All right, we're back on the Ringer NFL show. So they're 3-1, Jaxon. They entered the week with the highest point differential in the NFL. They beat the Steelers by 2 touchdowns. They crushed the Saints. This game, honestly, the final score is 23-20. It wasn't that close for 54 minutes of the game. It felt like they were the far superior team. Where is as a longtime Seahawks fan, where is your mind? Are you like, well, hey, NFC's wide open, anything can happen? Or are you like, all right, I like where it's going so far. I'm trying to just go week by week. Take us inside the psyche, because we know Danny Kelly at the Ringer for a long time. We know Mina Kimes, so we know some of the group chats that you're potentially on here. What is your feeling right now?
Just this week we did our show with Brady Henderson from ESPN, and we talked about the question I asked him at the end of the show was, when does the Seahawks season end? And this is before this past game, but we both thought Seattle would win this game. And he and I had the same answer. And it was like, if we win $1 million, if we get exactly right, it ends in the divisional round, which is progress. So am I allowing myself to dream? Yeah, because I think that this team is good enough to be in the final 8. And once you get to the final 8, now you're talking about winning a series of coin flips. And I think Seattle is good enough to get to that point. So sure, I'll let myself dream. But also, even with my misgivings about some of the offseason moves, I still thought this was a 10-win team because I was looking at what I thought was a top 5 defense. And so far, that's what they've been by just about every measure. I think that one of the craziest stats that I've heard about any team this season is that Seattle has the highest pressure rate in the NFL and are blitzing at the 31st highest rate. They are manufacturing elite pressure on opposing offenses without a marquee edge rusher and without blitzing. And that is the hallmark of a Mike Macdonald defense when it's clicking. So if that trend continues, and if you're not relying on a Myles Garrett or a Micah Parsons to essentially put the opposing offense off of their mark, and you can do it with all different kinds of guys, then it opens up so much. You can keep 7 guys to cover 5 in coverage, and that is game script proof. You get to have your entire back half of the defense playing with their eyes forward instead of their eyes back. And so that is why I saw this as a 10-win team anyway. And yeah, I'm starting to entertain thoughts of them being a little bit better than that now that we see the offense being as efficient as they are.
Yeah, I had them as the top defense in the NFL coming into the season. I really thought they had a chance to kind of make that leap. It's been very good. The corner play at times makes me a little nervous. You know, sure. Rick Woolen gets called for a couple pass interferences. But to your point, that is the Macdonald sort of superpower is just coming up with ways with those simulate. Hey, we're only rushing 4. You don't know which 4 are coming, and we're going to break down your protections. And all of a sudden, we're going to have a free rusher. And we've seen that pretty consistently through the first month of the season. So yeah, the defense is really, really good. Like you said, you didn't need the offense to be top 5. You need them to kind of reach a certain threshold, and they've reached that threshold so far. Man, Jaxon Smith-Njigba is just like, it's got to be amazing to just root for him every week.
At the end of the season, I think people are going to be forced to have a really honest conversation about where JSN ranks in the pantheon of NFL receivers. Yeah. Because he's not doing it with elite quarterback play. He's getting good quarterback play. He's not doing it with elite quarterback play, and he's not doing it in a high volume offense, but he is dominating targets. He went without a target in the first half, and he was coming in with a 40% target share on the season, number 1 in the NFL. And then in the second half, it was just like, well, trying to do all the other stuff isn't working.
Yeah.
Let's just build the whole plane out of Jaxon Smith-Njigba. And that's what the second half was. And they won.
Yeah, such a huge heads-up play there at the end. The catch and then twisting out of bounds. They don't have to use the timeout. That was a terrific play. The stutter go on the 3rd down where Sam Darnold just lays up a beautiful ball for him down the right sideline. So yeah, he has been an awesome player so far this season. All right, let's finish with the other team.
Yep.
Jackson, the team you watched this team a lot over the years. Here's my take. That was the perfect Cardinals game. You know, they just tease you a little bit into thinking, hey, maybe there's something here with those last 2 drives, but ultimately they end up losing. That's pretty much the story of like the last 7 years with the Cardinals. I mean, when they were down 26, and they made, the coaching stuff too with them was not great. They're down 26 in the 4th. They score a touchdown. A lot of coaches in the NFL will go for 2 there because then you have a chance to take the lead. If you score that second touchdown, they did not do that. Now, ultimately, it didn't end up mattering because the Seahawks kicked the field goal. But I have to be honest, I'm just like pretty much sick of this team. I'm like sick of the hipsters telling me, watch out for the Cardinals. Right. They're good. The things they're doing defensively. I mean, during the broadcast, they called Jonathan Gannon a defensive guru. Jackson, since he took over, we have a 3-year sample here almost, 2+. The Cardinals ranked 32nd in defensive success rate. 30, you literally cannot be lower than where they rank in defensive success rate since Gannon took over. And if you say, well, Sheil, that's not fair. The first season, he didn't have his guys. Okay, since the start of last year through 4 games this year, they rank 31st. They've bumped up 1 spot. So I just look at them and I'm like,
progress.
Yeah, progress. You would think the way some people talk about them, they must. Like, here's what really annoyed me. They're doing a Gannon, Mike Macdonald comparison, like two defensive coaches.
Right.
Macdonald's calling his defense. I'm like, Gannon does not belong in the conversation with Mike Macdonald when we're talking about, defensive gurus in the NFL. One of them has a track record, the other doesn't. So to me, there's just no reason to take this team seriously. They're just so inconsistent offensively. The defense is below average. They're a mediocre team, and they're going to continue to be a mediocre team. Am I wrong about any of that? Do you want to pile on? Where are you with this Cardinals team?
Yeah, you mentioned the group chats earlier. I'm in a dynasty fantasy league with some of your contemporaries, all the Ringer fantasy football guys, Danny Kelly, Danny Heifetz, Craig Horlbeck, Nate Tice is in that league, a few others. And one of the things I texted to them during this game is the Cardinals are an adolescent franchise. There are 3 adults in the room in that division. And then there's a promising, precocious teenager who has moments where you're like, this gets pretty sharp. And then they remind you that, it's like, did you put on deodorant today? It's like, I went in your room and that's not a grown-up room. And that's who the Cardinals are. And until they can mature, and we saw it again, we saw moments of excitement and precocity in the fourth quarter. You're down 4 points, 14 points. You've been dominated for 4 quarters, and you come out and you just let it rip. You should have been letting it rip all game long. But you're just letting it rip. All of a sudden, you're tied. And then you kick it short. And you just make the team go 20 yards to beat you. Little stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And top down, it's a low rent, cheap ownership. It's a quarterback who I really like watching, but I'm glad isn't my favorite team's quarterback. It's a head coach that just seems a touch overwhelmed. And you're just waiting for their best players to make big plays when the game is on the line, and they just don't do it against good teams.
That was beautiful. I mean, adolescent French. I'm just going to steal it. I'm telling you right now, the deodorant thing, that was beautiful. Yeah, I don't know that. I'm like, man, I wish I could come up with stuff. You said it perfectly. Now, to their credit, they put together the drives I did not think they were going to score that second touchdown. I was like, this is going to end in some disastrous sack and Marvin Harrison Jr., what a roller coaster of an evening. I'll be honest. There was a time in the first half where I was like, I should probably text Jackson and be like, we're going to have to lead the show with like, what's going on with Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, that was a horrible first half. And then he comes back. So good for him. Like, I think we want him to succeed. He's a talented player. He's fun to watch when he's on, but it was going bad until he bounced back there in the second half. But yeah, you said it. It's like, they're just a tease. They're an adolescent franchise. Like, to me, I just had enough. I'm just tired of people telling me to care about them. It's like, I don't need to care about the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to probably win 7 or 8 games. If they're lucky, maybe they win 9, or they're in the playoff race. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that they sneak into the playoffs, but like, ultimately they're not going to matter. And until that changes, I'm tired of people telling me otherwise. So there you go.
Stick them in the AFC South. We can have a conversation.
That's right.
But this is a big boy division.
Can we do that? It feels like that's where they belong, the AFC South. Or that would be a lot more fun. All right, Jacson Bevens, that was terrific. Check out his podcast, Cigar Thoughts. He is feeling it right now, as he should. A nice Thursday night victory. But Jackson, thank you so much for joining us. I will be right back with my Ringer 107 picks for the week.
Appreciate you, brother.
This episode is brought to you by American Eagle. Listen up, and you heard this from me first. American Eagle just launched the second drop of their exclusive limited edition collab with True Colors by Travis Kelce. And I'm pretty excited to see what new styles are out now. From incredibly comfy graphic tees to cool jackets to vintage-inspired rugby sweatshirts, you're going to find something you love, guaranteed. Not only that, but American Eagle also has so many new arrivals that just dropped, from trending jean fits to cozy flannels to luxuriously soft sweaters and more. You can check it all out at ae.com or just head to the store. Today's Ringer 107 is brought to you by FanDuel. Every Friday at the end of the show, I will be giving you my 5 picks for the Ringer 107 contest. Now, listen, I went 2-3 again last week, 6-9. Not proud of that, but luckily the other Ringer pods I'm competing with have also been bad. Nobody is above 500, so it's early. I'm within striking distance. Hopefully I can bounce back this week. Let's get to the picks. Pick number 1, I got the Bucs plus 3.5. Hosting the Eagles. We got 2 undefeated teams in the NFC, but they've both played close games every single week. Neither team has a win by more than 1 possession. I think they're pretty evenly matched right now. And if you look at the history, Jalen Hurts has had a tough time against Todd Bowles. He's 1-4 against the Bucs since Todd Bowles has been there in his career. And, he's been a little shorthanded some of those games. No A.J. Brown, but still, there's just no doubt if you've watched it, the Tampa scheme has given the Eagles problems. And then on the other side of the ball, Eagles defense has not been great. They're a little banged up. I just don't really trust the Eagles pass rush right now. So I'm banking on a close game here. I'm taking the points, Bucs plus 3.5. All right, second pick. Chargers minus 6.5 at the Giants. Jackson Dart's first start. We talked about it earlier this week. Definitely add some juice to the game, but I continue to think that the Giants are just a bad team. I mean, I think their week 2 offensive outburst against an awful Cowboys defense threw some people off the scent, but Dart and Brian Daboll against Jesse Minter and this Chargers defense. I mean, I am giving the Chargers a huge edge there, and Justin Herbert is playing at a high level right now. So Jim Harbaugh's team takes care of business on the road. Chargers minus 6.5. All right, third pick. We go to LA and give me the Rams minus 3.5 at home against the Colts. Now, listen, I could be totally wrong about the Colts. They have burned me already multiple times this season. Maybe they actually can sustain something close to this level of play offensively. I mean, they've legitimately been the NFL's best offense through 3 weeks, but I really like this Rams team. Their offense, their run game, I thought it was really impressive last week against the Eagles. You could just see that is a well-coached offense. Now, if the Colts go to LA and beat this Rams team, it's going to be hard to doubt them anymore. I mean, that would be a really, really impressive win. So maybe that's what we're talking about next week. But I think the Rams are going to come through here and cover the 3.5. All right, pick number 4, game of the weekend. I'm going Chiefs plus 2.5 at home against the Ravens. I was on the fence with this one. It's tough. Either Lamar Jackson's team or Patrick Mahomes' team. One of those teams is going 1-3. And I think we all came into this season thinking, hey, the Ravens are one of the NFL's most complete teams. But now do we still think that? Their run game has been mediocre, which seems wild to say with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, but it's true when you look at the numbers. Their defense right now, with a couple of key front 7 players, Nnamdi Madubuike, Kyle Van Noy, both those guys are out for this game. The defense did not look good at all Monday night against the Lions. And I think the Chiefs offense, it hasn't looked great, but they're still 8th in EPA per drive. In other words, maybe it's not quite as bad as our eyes tell us. It's a lot of Mahomes scrambles. It's Tyquan Thornton. I understand. I don't know if it's sustainable, but I just think they found a way to be a little bit more efficient than they've been given credit for. So I like Mahomes. Big spot at home. I'm taking the Chiefs plus 2.5 as home underdogs. And then finally, this is probably a bit of a square pick, but who cares? Just give me a winner. I've got the Packers minus 6.5 at Dallas on Sunday night. This is a bad spot for the Cowboys. Obviously, it's the Micah Parsons game. He goes back to Dallas. But this Cowboys offense is down 3 key starters. CeeDee Lamb, out. Rookie guard Tyler Booker, out. Center Cooper Beebe, out. I mean, I think that Dallas offense is going to have a really rough time in this game. And then on the other side of the ball, I mean, the Cowboys might have the worst defense in the entire NFL. So I said it earlier this week. I think it could get ugly for Dallas. I'm backing up that stance by taking the Packers minus 6.5. So there you go. Those are the picks. Today's Ringer 107 was brought to you by FanDuel. Odds subject to change. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Christopher Sutton for producing. Kiera Givens on social. Additional production supervision by Conor Nevins and Arjuna Ramgopowell. I'll be back Monday morning breaking down the biggest week 4 storylines. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next time on the Ringer NFL Show.
Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. Or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.